One-on-one competition on tap here for Career Championship Wrestling. An individual who's really come into his own over the past few months in this organization, and it's been a change of mindset that's really had a lot to do with it.
So did you stand up when the anthem played? I couldn't tell. I was too busy saluting the flag.
Flag?
Yes.
Well, the next trending topic is escorted by the eccentric artist, R.C. Dupree. We saw them entered in the Premier Tag Team Tournament. And we saw R.C. Dupree a last-minute substitution, but we saw things completely break down involving Pollock, Dupree, and their opponents, Aaron Williams and Nate Wing. Still some bad blood there, but Pollock set for one-on-one competition tonight. Dupree is not scheduled to be in action. Why is he here?
Well, he's the confidant of one Jack Pollock, and as a team Storm, you can see the shirt there. They were trained in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. You know, it's sometimes just good to have your friends. Could you imagine doing this without me?
All the time.
Well, when somebody has to sub in for me, like the great Jay Worthington Farnsworth, or I believe Marcus Mann said him one time. You know, I can't keep track of all those names and letters, but don't you just feel like there's a piece of your heart missing when I'm not here? That's what it would be like with R.C. Dupree if he wasn't there to support me.
I got a problem with you. Yes, I do. Right back at you now.
Well, that's a very romanticized look at the relationship between Pollock and R.C. Dupree at this point in time. We'll see if Dupree behaves himself. And if I'm R.C. Dupree, I don't think I want to cross paths with the opponent of Jack Pollock here tonight, because things may not end well. Pollock is facing his toughest one-on-one test to date, arguably. Big 300-pounder Jackson Stone. Saw him get involved earlier tonight, running off Gannon Jones Jr., Duke Davis, Chris LaRusso, when they tried to instigate a 3-on-1 assault on Kalam. And Jackson Stone has shown he has no fear. He's got unfinished business with them, but I'll tell you what, I made this matchup to test Jack Pollock's merits, because Jackson Stone, when you talk about physically imposing athletes in this organization, he's right near or at the top of that list.
Well, he's certainly been physically imposing, no doubt about that, but you know, he sticks his nose in where it doesn't belong, and that's something that I personally don't appreciate. Was not invited out earlier. Obviously, is scheduled in this matchup. It's going to be an interesting contest between Jackson Stone and Jack Pollock.
Two different ideologies. Jackson Stone influenced by the Far East. Of course, Jack Pollock influenced by the Great White North.
You know, I've never been to the Far East, but I have been to the Great White North. Many a great individual that lives in Canada. Not only were the Pollock, R.C. Dupree was trained there, Wayne Gretzky, Sidney Crosby, Kingdom James, Robin Williams. You know, just a litany of amazing individuals.
You realize the first two people on your list of famous Canadians are not actually Canadians.
Well, they're adopted sons of Canadians.
Let's see. Jack Pollock not scheduled to team with R.C. Dupree in the tag title tournament. Took it upon himself to replace his old partner with Dupree. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this matchup with Jackson Stone, as Pollock tried to humiliate Jackson in the early going, but Pollock's been on a bit of a streak lately. How about his victory over Gregory Iron this past summer? That gave some big-time momentum to Jack Pollock.
Well, it certainly set Jack Pollock in the right direction, no doubt about that. Uh-oh. Well, that right hand didn't quite find the mark.
Oh! And Pollock goes downstairs, and hard shots to Jackson Stone.
You know, don't underestimate the hard right hand of Jack Pollock.
Just as you say that, don't underestimate the grip of Stone trying to deliver his first of what may be many suplexes for Pollock, who counters the first, but finds himself in the grasp of Jackson immediately afterwards.
Smart defensive strategy by Jack Pollock. You know what's coming with those suplexes. Oh, I don't know if he knew that was coming, but you got to block those suplexes, because the suplex shogun gets rolling, say that 5 times fast, it's really, really hard to stop.
And Pollock's deceptively big himself. Pollock's about 6'4", 220 pounds, and Jackson elevated Jack Pollock like he was nothing.
You look at the size of the tree trunk legs of Jackson Stone, and that's muscle. That is what he uses to drive and pop those hips on those suplexes.
Oh, Jackson went for the pounce. We've seen him deliver that to men like Gannon Jones Jr. and a number of others in the recent past, but Pollock wants nothing to do with it. Dupree on the outside, a bit reserved here this week, but trying to give Pollock some encouragement all his own.
Well, Pollock was calling for the Canadian timeout. Canadian rules of professional wrestling dictate 2 timeouts and a cup of Tim Hortons.
Is that allowed in the timeout?
Well, no, actually, that would be a Canadian disqualification where he would get a stern talking to.
Well, good thing we're in America, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if you'd want to call it Cleveland, America. I mean, technically.
Well, all they've done is raise the ire of Jackson Stone.
And R.C. Dupree did nothing to deserve his abuse.
R.C. Dupree with an eccentric headache and now being an eccentric distraction.
Well, he was just letting Jackson Stone know that was uncalled for and it wasn't nice. And as a polite Canadian, he did not appreciate it.
There's Dupree, found his way all around the ring in that short amount of time to take Pollock out of harm's way.
No, don't mislead the people, Joe. He was giving Pollock a hearty handshake, the Canadian handshake.
Yeah, because that's the perfect time to shake hands. Armbar takedown by Pollock into the cover.
Never a bad time to shake somebody's hand. You always talk about Brian Castle hugging people all the time.
Well, Pollock's a bit busy right now, if you haven't noticed.
I do notice. I noticed that he's laying it into Jackson Stone right now and gave a little high five there. The Canadian too sweet. Am I allowed to say that on this?
I'm not so sure. Maybe if it's Canadian, the conversion rate makes it different. I'm not sure. I see a look at R.C. Dupree. What goes through that guy's mind?
Well, he's the eccentric artist. He is an artist. He's not only a sculptor. He is a painter. He is a poet.
Looks like a cheerleader right now.
Well, that's also an artist. Hashtag eccentric artist. Hashtag.
Oh! Straight jacket Russian leg sweep.
Hashtag that as well.
Or Canadian leg sweep for a near fall.
Hashtag don't sleep on Dupree. I could keep going if you like.
Many people have told me that they feel Pollock is the most underrated athlete in the area right now. Is that true in your eyes?
Absolutely. You look at Jack Pollock and you see that he's got a different demeanor, a different mindset, and he knows one thing: there's strength in numbers. Well,
yeah, really, because 2's bigger than 1, no matter where you're converting it.
That is true. That is basic math. You learn a lot here on Premier Championship Wrestling DVDs. But Jack Pollock, you might look at him and think, well, he's gonna use his wits, he's gonna use some ability, but he's a striker. He isn't afraid to go in there. So, do people underestimate Jack Pollock? Absolutely, and they always pay for it.
Well, Jackson Stone paid for it for maybe a few moments, thanks to Dupree. But Pollock getting desperate. You got to keep the suplex shogun at bay. When Jackson Stone's in his element, he can get those arms wrapped around you to elevate you overhead. It may be all over.
Use the Canadian term. That would be an assist for R.C. Dupree.
I don't think it's a Canadian term. I think it works in America too. There's a cover for 2.
Oh, hockey's Canadian.
Well, I mean, this is not a team sport. This is a one-on-one match. Beware of that.
I am. Maybe you're just not up on your hockey. I've got some Hartford Whalers highlights we can watch.
Well, maybe we can give you a game misconduct and get you out of here.
I'd only be gone for 10 minutes. Will I still get paid?
Actually, 10-minute misconduct and a game misconduct are 2 different things. Maybe you're not up on your hockey, but Jackson Stone firing away with right hands.
Is Gordie Howe still playing?
And there's a couple of hard rights, and look at this. Jackson Stone just elevates Pollock with a suplex 2-0. And Stone, a second time, drives Pollock down. Oh, man, you can sense the competitive nature of this matchup continue to increase.
Well, Joe, I don't know if how late Canadian hospitals stay open on a Saturday, but I hope they still are, because a few more of those and Pollock's going to need a head doctor.
Tell you what match is like. Oh! Jackson Stone explodes with a clothesline.
And perhaps a collarbone doctor as well.
These matches so important. Talent trying to get the doors in Premier Championship Wrestling by the minute as Jackson Stone gets a count of 2 on Jack Pollock. Wins and losses matter. Wins and losses are so vital. And this is one of the most competitive matchups of the night, certainly notwithstanding taking anything away from the Premier Championship or the other altercations we've seen. RC with some words of encouragement. I think maybe some blind encouragement. He's Trying to will Jack Pollock on, but Jack is in a bad way.
I think R.C. Dupree has sight in both eyes, and I think he's a future seer, if you will. And I think he's seeing a win for Pollock. Pollock not exactly in the best position right now. You know, a lot of guys the size of Jackson Stone don't go anywhere near the bottom rope, let alone the middle or the top. Not afraid to go aerial and toss his opponents around if he needs to.
Not afraid to attempt a superplex. Look at Dupree hanging onto the ankle of Pollock.
He was tying his shoe, I believe. Oh, jeez.
And Jackson catches Pollock midair with a spine buster. Forget about it. Straps come down. Going to be a formality from here. Pounce!
Period.
And Dupree on the apron. Get him out of here.
I believe R.C. Dupree wrote a nice poem to let our official know.
I could give a damn less about his poem. Here comes LaRusso. LaRusso's got no stake with Pollock. LaRusso trying to protect Pollock here as Jackson Stone is diverted with Dupree.
He had his foot on the rope there, so he couldn't pin him.
He couldn't pin him. Yeah, LaRusso preemptive strike. But we saw Jackson come out earlier and interrupt LaRusso's plans. LaRusso stumbling on the rampway. He's having all sorts of problems. And Stone is going to obliterate LaRusso. Oh, that was a trap. It was a damn trap. Here's locked and loaded.
Well, I don't know if I would call it a trap as so much it was just a locked and loaded, saving their close personal friend Chris LaRusso from a mugging from Jackson.
And what's Dupree doing? Telling the referee his life story?
Well, you see, it all started well, you know, we don't have time for that, Joe.
Wait, Jackson has been thrown back into the ring after that beatdown, and Pollock with that mafia kick. Jack Pollock is going to beat Jackson Stone, but it was 5-on-1.
Well, Joe, it may have been 5-on-1, but the important thing here, I've got such a smile on my face. The important thing is your winner, Jack Pollock.
Jack Pollock wins for the pride of Canada. He did it for his home country, I guess.
Somewhere right now, Lance Storm and all the hearts are smiling.
Well, Pollock continues his ways. R.C. Dupree, I don't even know what that means. Blowing kisses to everybody, but Pollock's not been beaten since he's come back to Premier Championship Wrestling. And wait a second now. I think the assault that Kalam was going to get has been reserved for Jackson Stone. We saw this earlier. Double choke slam. We need some help. Who gave LaRusso a microphone again?
It's a big boy, you might need to...
Make your money, come on.
Use your legs.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you once again the most dominant tag team in professional wrestling today. The two greatest physical specimens in Premier Championship Wrestling and your future tag team champions.
Joe, those are two good guys to put your money on if you're in Vegas.